I think boundaries are so important in work and in life, and just knowing that you're not going to have the right answer every time, or really maybe not ever, but like at least being willing to engage in that conversation honestly is huge, and have the self-awareness to know where your boundaries might be more leaky.
Well, what's up, agency owners? Jason Swenk here with another episode of the Smart Agency Masterclass, a podcast for the digital agency owner that wants to hear other stories of agency owners so you can actually grow and scale your agency faster. And on today's episode, I have an amazing agency owner where we're going to talk about how do you not get burned out as you're scaling your agency, which is, something a lot of us actually go through. So let's go ahead and jump into the show. Hey, Caitlin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. So tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure thing. So I'm Caitlin Copple. I live in Boise, Idaho. I'm a queer single mom and an unlikely agency owner, but I did the thing and built the $1 million plus agency in less than 4 years. We're going into year 5 now, and have a team of 10, all remote. Before that was cool. I just thought it was cool. Then the rest of the world came along, and it's worked out great. It's been a really fun journey. I've learned a lot, and it's definitely changed how I feel about the power, I think, of small business owners to really change the world in ways that they feel like are important.
That's awesome. And so how did you get started? Were you an accidental agency owner, or did you have plans to create your own?
Yeah, so I had worked in PR and marketing and a little bit of fundraising for about 10 years or so before I went out on my own. I had a 2-year-old at the time, and I was 35 and kind of just old enough that I wasn't the youngest person in the room, but like young enough that I would still take risks. I don't know if that makes sense. And so I just decided, if I could just make my old salary, I would be fine. And I could, have more time with my son and live a great life, go skiing more, on the weekdays. And so I made my old salary in about 5 months, and then started to do more research into who actually runs PR agencies and marketing agencies in this country, and the stats around women-owned businesses, only 2% of which ever hit that 7-figure mark. And I just decided that, hey, this is going to be the thing that I do, my new feminist challenge, because I love it if somebody tells me I can't do something, because then I want to do it backwards and in high heels. So
that's awesome. Well, you cannot create $1 billion agency, so go do it.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't care about $1 billion so much, but $1 million's been fun.
There you go. Awesome. What's been the hardest challenge to get over the 1 million mark and not burn yourself out?
Yeah. So I have a business partner now. She joined me in 2021, and we are both parents of young kids. And so we're also both, I'm a single mom. She's the main breadwinner in her family. And so for us, there was always a line in the sand, if you will, about what we were willing to do and how hard or how long of hours we were willing to work. And so we made the decision early on to try to work smarter and not necessarily harder or longer, and to staff up, even though that meant that our margins were going to be smaller. And we just had a really clear alignment around, how much is enough? What's our number to make this journey worth it? And, where do we need to be next year and the year after that to continue to make sure it's worth it, and position the agency to have options, whether that's us just drawing a salary and not working, or, and hiring a CEO kind of person to run it, or whether that's being acquired by, somebody that shares our values. We'll see. But it's nice to feel that alignment and have a partner in business who also is kind of going through similar life experiences.
I can't agree more with, having people on your team that are going through the same kind of challenges, or they're kind of at the same level you are, especially, helping you grow. I've always, in the past, I've seen kind of big age gaps in certain partners, and a lot of times I haven't seen those work out too well. One is kind of getting ready to be empty nesters. Another one's like, hey, dude, I'm still dealing with childcare, and they really don't get it. And that's a real big challenge a lot of times.
Definitely. Yeah. We've been in it and we don't only hire women. Sometimes I have to say that that would be illegal and also not necessarily what we want, but we do attract a lot of other, I think, working moms into the fold. And so we've created a lot of flexible work policies and other benefits that I think make us an appealing place for folks who are very talented, but do have young kids at home and all of the drama and fevers and, childcare snafus that can bring.
I think stay-at-home moms make the best workers, honestly, just because they're a lot more attention to detail. Honestly, I think all the dudes listening could agree, be like, hell yeah, we don't have any attention to detail.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some natural multitasking that comes with being a parent.
Exactly. What were some challenges that you had to overcome?
Yeah, I think so much of it is really mindset. And I know that gets tossed around a lot in the coaching world, if you will, or when anybody's talking to you about scaling. But so there's so much truth to that. I think that we all kind of have this idea of what's possible for ourselves. And there's something about growing a business that I think is constantly helping you expand that vision of what's possible for yourself and for your team. And once you have a couple of experiences where you actually can generate revenue essentially on demand, if you're good at business, like you can set the parameters for your life. And that's huge. I mean, it's really exciting to me. And I think as somebody who really values having freedom and having a lot of options in my life, I really have enjoyed that part of being a business owner.
What are some of the rules that you have set for yourself, or what are some of the standards that you've set in order to, maintain, not burning yourself out, maintain the freedom, but also maintain, growing the agency?
Yeah. So my son and I spend a month every year in Montana. I used to live in Missoula, and it's a city that has a big hold on my heart still. And we have a lot of chosen family, I guess, if you will, there. I also am committed to taking at least 5 consecutive days off that are totally off, like not half working, no Slack, no email, delete it off your phone, like really don't have your phone for at least 5 days, because I think it's so important for your brain. I would love to have a month of that, but we're not quite there yet. 5 days is great. I'm about to turn 40 and I'm going on a river trip on the main salmon here in Idaho with some of my closest friends, and very much excited to have another 5-day stretch of no cell phone service. So that's been big. And then I think just hiring a team to support us, even when it's felt like, oh my God, can we really afford this person? But again, going back to our belief in our ability to make money and to be creative and make our budget work for us has been huge. And I'm really pleased with the team that we have now, and having invested early on in operations and getting those SOPs so that not everything lives in my brain or Holly's brain. Holly, my business partner, has also been really important.
When did you guys realize that, to kind of extract out what's only in your guys' brain, out?
Yeah, probably about 2021, I would say. So it was pretty early on, and we were still kind of in that weird pandemic space too. But I think once we had we moved our executive assistant at the time into an operations coordinator and then an operations manager role. And that was huge. And we actually paid for her to go through a certification for operations directors, which was of huge value to her and to our team. I think she's like 26 or 27 now. So she was even younger then. So she was hungry and wanted to learn. And she's just one of those, A players that we've invested in. And it's paid dividends, for us as well. I think also just starting to look at like, okay, if we get this thing to 5 or 10 million, we can look at positioning ourselves for potential acquisition if that's what we want. And one of the things that those folks would look for is, not only your book of business, but your documented SOPs for how you run things so that they don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. Was there one place that you started first, or did you try to knock everything out all at once?
That is such a good question. It's like a blur now, honestly, Jason. I just recorded so many goddamn videos. Can I say that on your podcast?
Yes.
It's like loom video after loom video of how I think about things and walking through documents. I try to never look at it now, but I'm glad we have it. And we have a whole table of contents for how it works and for different, aspects of the business, everything from onboarding to like how we would run a staff retreat to how we approach a press release and how we would approach crisis communications and all of those things. So, yeah.
But you guys would do a video and then you would hand hand it off to your operations person and they would take care of
and they
everything?
file it away and operationalize it all. Yeah. So we have basically each SOP has a Google Doc component and a video component explaining the Google Doc.
I think that's the only way to do it, honestly, for, like us visionaries.
Yeah.
If we're
I
going to
hate
sit
it. I don't
down,
ever look at it again, but like, I'm glad it's there.
my always cheat sheet is like, I was doing a newsletter this morning and I was like, I don't ever want to do this ever again. So let me just record my thought process around this, or let me record my thought process about picking out a headline or a hook for a certain piece of content, and then just hand it off to the team and be like, all right, you guys document it however you want, but this is my thoughts. This is how, if we can make it better, great. But I think too many of us go, oh, we need SOPs. And we sit down for like an hour and then we're like, just hitting our head, on the desk. And we're like, oh, this is miserable.
Yeah. And it's not really ever done. I mean, I know I'll have to make more at some point, but we did a big push and I'm glad we cranked out a bunch. And we just have a process now for documenting like, oh, this is a hiccup or this is something that keeps coming up. Let's design a system to solve it and write it down. Most
people are not good at hiring team members. Have you hired people that you're like, oh, that person really didn't work out? And what'd you learn from that?
Oh, goodness.
Or were they all good?
No, they have not necessarily been all good, but I haven't always been a good leader though. That's part of it too, is like, I think when you're growing a business really quickly and, going from like 130,000 the first year to 356,000 to 650,000 to 1.1 million. I mean, our growth has been really staggering numbers for somebody that basically made 70,000 my whole life, up until starting a business and just like wanted to live in the mountains. And so I think it's like, there's that piece of it. And then there's the piece of knowing what you don't know, being humble, but also being confident enough to make decisions and stand by those decisions. And, investing in your own like self-awareness and self-growth has been huge too. Like we've always had a business coach. We've always gone to therapy. I just did a bunch of ketamine in July and it was awesome. I mean, it just never stops, right? Like you always just have to be, I think, on that journey so that you can show up for your people. That said, I mean, we're a remote organization. It's very easy to tell if somebody is not working in a remote organization. And especially when you use something like Asana to track project, et cetera. So we've definitely had folks who it's a little bit sink or swim, and if you're not self-motivated and, committed to following the processes that we have in place, like you're not going to succeed.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about, I know you mentioned business coaching, but tell me a mistake you made, in the beginning of being not up to snuff as a leader as what you are right now.
Well, I think that one thing, I don't know that I've totally figured out this because I tend to hire my friends as contractors and sometimes as employees. And I'm a lot more reluctant to do that now because of an early experience that did not go so well. And I would say the way that I've navigated that is by getting more comfortable having hard conversations and setting up like clear parameters from the get-go. Like when we started this business, we didn't have KPIs for the business or KPIs for each employee that aligned with the business KPIs, key performance indicators. Probably most of your listeners know that. But I think that is huge because then it's not personal. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, this is the data. This is like what we have to do. And being able to have open conversations about, the power dynamic if it is a friend situation, but also like why you are attracted to hiring a friend to help you. I think for me, I've never been like a work-life balance person, but more of like a work-life integration person. And so I'm so passionate about whatever I'm doing and I gravitate toward other people who are like that. And so if I have a friend that could easily solve my problem or vice versa, of course I want to work with them, and we have it to an extent with clients too, who have now been with us all 4 years. And of course they're like friends.
Yeah, it is the hard conversations that really make or break you. I see too many agency owners, including myself in the past, where we'd put off the hard conversation that we had to have in order to, because we wanted, I think a lot of times we want to have approval from our employees and we want them to think everything's great. But then what happens is we start resenting them. And then they probably start resenting you back because they're like, this is not right either. And then it just gets to a point to blow up. I also used to have a motto where, we had an agency where we were designing websites all the time. So I always said, friends don't let friends design websites. They can become friends and family after the fact.
Yeah.
But not before, because I always felt like those friends or family they don't see the line. Like, this is, you are the leader, and what's the overall direction? They'd be like, oh, I just still see you as the guy doing keg stands or whatever it is, right?
Oh, God.
Like, how could you respect that person?
Yeah.
So
definitely. Yeah. I think boundaries are so important in work and in life, and just, knowing that you're not going to have the right answer every time, or really maybe not ever, but like at least being willing to engage in that conversation, honestly, is huge, and have the self-awareness to know where your boundaries might be more leaky.
Awesome. Well, this has been amazing, Caitlin. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
Well, I do think I wanted to share a little bit about the benefits that we offer people, because I think they're pretty unique in this space.
Fantastic.
Certainly not something that Holly and I ever experienced working in agencies previously. But we offer paid parental leave, 12 weeks, regardless of how long you've worked for us. So it's not a situation where you have to be there for 3 years and then sign up for another year after. We also offer healthcare on day one. We both participate in the same plan that we offer our employees. So it's pretty good, because our kids have to be on it too. So we picked a good one, and we're proud of that. We also do retirement, again, starting on day one. We have a tech stipend. We pay for people to co-work if they want to. We like working from home and didn't want to pay the overhead of an office, especially early on. And so we've continued to go that route, and it's worked out pretty well. We also require everybody to take 5 consecutive days off. We have unlimited vacation, but as you maybe know, not everyone will take it sometimes. So we mandate, it's an actual KPI, that they have to take 5 days of totally being unplugged and locked out of all the systems.
That's awesome. No house cleaning?
Oh, we tried that once. I have a house cleaner, so does Holly, but we don't pay for it for our employees at this juncture.
I remember I offered that to my couple people on my team, and they were like, "What do you think, my house is dirty?" I was like, "Oh, that kind of backfired."
I see you in the Zoom background. Yeah, that's funny.
Exactly. Well, cool. Well, what's the agency website people can go and check you guys out?
Yeah, Full Swing PR. So it's fullswingpr.com. And we're mostly active on Instagram at Full Swing PR. And then I love Twitter, and I'm never going to call it X. I still love it. I hate it, but I love it. That's where all the journalists hang out. So I have to be there.
There you go. Awesome. Well, everyone, go check them out. And thanks so much, Caitlin, for coming on the show. And if you guys enjoyed this episode and you want to be around amazing agency owners where we can see the things you may not be able to see, also be your therapist when things are going bad, help you get through those things like we all need, I'd love to invite all of you to go check out agencymastery360.com. It's our exclusive mastermind and a lot of different programs and resources for agency owners like you. Go to agencymastery360.com. And until next time, have a swank day.